Hello, New Hope family. This is Pastor Dave coming to you with Midweek in the Word for December the 14th of 2022. We're continuing on our journey of faith following the life of Abraham. And the message today is found in Genesis chapter 23 and the first 20 verses. And we're going to be talking about integrity in life. And what we'll see in this passage is Abraham has come to a posture of integrity. And when you look back, you see those times when he told lies to protect and preserve himself. He did that when he was in Egypt. He did that when he was in the kingdom realm of Abimelech. He told them that Sarah, his wife, was his sister. He didn't indicate in any way that they were husband and wife. And so he's grown in his faith now. He's been tested by God in offering Isaac in sacrifice. And of course, God proved his heart, Abraham's heart, in that and prevented him from taking the life of his son, the son of promise. But we're going to find now, this is years later, and Isaac has grown to be a young man, and Abraham is very old. And so is Sarah. Chapter 23 of Genesis, beginning in verse 1. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. So Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Then Abraham stood up from before his dead, and he spoke to the sons of Heth. Now Heth was a descendant of Canaan, who had started a realm there, and his descendants ruled that. Verse 4 goes on to say, Abraham speaking to the sons of Heth, I am a foreigner and a visitor among you. Give me property for a burial place among you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, Hear us, my lord. You are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our burial places. None of us will withhold from you his burial place, that you may bury your dead. Then Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, the sons of Heth. And he spoke with them, saying, If it is your wish that I bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and meet with Ephron, the son of Zohar, for me, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me at the full price as property for a burial place among you. Now Ephron dwelt among the sons of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the presence of the sons of Heth, all who entered at the gate of his city, saying, No, my lord, hear me. I give you the field and the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of the sons of my people. I give it to you. Bury your dead. Then Abraham bowed himself down before the people of the land, and he spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, If you will give it, please hear me. I will give you money for the field, take it from me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, My lord, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? So bury your dead. And Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephron, which he had named in the hearing of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. So the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within all the surrounding borders, were deeded to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the sons of Heth, before all who went in and out at the gate of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. So the field and the cave that is in it were deeded to Abraham by the sons of Heth as property for a burial place. So how does all this show integrity in life? Well, if we look at it, okay, we see Sarah has passed. Abraham is seeking a place to bury Sarah. And we see respect given and received. We see the Canaanites, the sons of Heth, in verses 3 through 9, telling Abraham, just, pick any place of the burial areas that we have in our realm, in our province, and use that. You can have it. And they even referred to him as a great prince or a mighty prince in verse 6. Hear us, my Lord, you are a mighty prince among us. So they were showing respect for Abraham. But Abraham was showing respect to them as well. And when it came to the conversation in verses 10 through 13 with Ephron called him my Lord. So they were recognizing the place that God had elevated him to because of his spiritual growth in relationship with God. And both the sons of Heth and Ephron the Hittite offered freely the gift of a place to bury and recognized Abraham's status in verses 6 and 11. But Abraham revealed his integrity in verses 13 through 16, where he heard Ephron give him the value of the land, not expecting anything for it, but Abraham insisted on paying that price. And so, as Abraham would have it, Ephron took the money and the land was deeded to Abraham and his descendants as a place to bury their dead. And we see then that their integrity was shown in the deeding of that, in the official recognition. So we are called to walk in integrity. In Proverbs chapter 2, verses 6 through 9, it says this: For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright. And there's that life of integrity, the upright. He is a shield to those who walk uprightly. He guards the path of justice and preserves the way of his saints, those who are sanctified and in right relationship with him. Then you will understand righteousness and justice, equity, and every good path. And so there it is. We are given blessing from God to walk in integrity. He calls us to that because he is the possessor of wisdom, and he gives understanding to those who walk uprightly, to those who walk in trueness, which is integrity of heart and integrity of life. And we see Jesus teaching about this integrity in our lives. In Matthew chapter 5, in the Sermon on the Mount, if you look at verses 33 through 37, Jesus says these words, "Again you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to the Lord." And so, throughout the biblical time and right up into the New Testament time where Jesus is teaching this, people would take an oath to make an agreement or to fulfill a promise. And that oath was supposed to be a solemn thing that would guarantee that it would be fulfilled, that the person taking the oath would fulfill whatever he said he's going to do. But what Jesus goes on to say, he says, "But I say to you, do not swear at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Nor shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. But let your yes be yes, and your no, no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one." So, in other words, we ought to have enough integrity in the way we live our lives that we can enter into relational commitments and carry through in those without all the stuff that goes on nowadays. Now you got to have legal contracts, you got to have lawyers involved, and all this stuff that verifies that you're going to fulfill what you've promised to do. And back not too awful many years ago, but then again quite a few years ago, if a person had a good name, had integrity of life, a promise and a handshake was all that was needed. You didn't need a lawyer, you didn't need a lot of fancy contract legalese to guarantee fulfillment of that. And that's what Jesus is saying, that your life should be so transparent, without deception, that you reveal God's integrity, his trustworthiness in your own life, so that you can say yes or no, and that is enough, without taking an oath and swearing that oath to fulfill that promise. So Abraham had come to a posture of integrity. We are called to walk in integrity. And when we do, we are blessed when we walk in integrity. Proverbs 20 verse 7 says, "The righteous man walks in his integrity. His children are blessed after him." So we are to set an example for our offspring, for our children and our grandchildren as we walk in integrity. We are to set an example for our neighbors and our friends, our co-workers, not to be false, not to lie, not to try to cover up or hide, but to honor God in the way we live our lives, because we are reflections of his nature and character. And I want to leave you with this. Proverbs 10:9, the first part of that verse says, "He who walks with integrity walks securely." You want to have peace of mind in your life? You want to have nothing to fear? Walk in integrity. Walk in transparent openness, trustworthiness, trueness, so that people can take you at your word and know that you will fulfill whatever you have committed to fulfill. So, as we journey in our faith, let us live a life of integrity to reveal our God to a lost and dying world. I'll see you next week. God bless you and use you in a mighty way to bring glory to His name.